The Michigan Daily has been bringing the news to University of Michigan students and Ann Arbor residents for 120 years. It's a history that includes famous alumni and occasionally making the national news. And if you think newspapers are a thing of the past, well, don't tell that to the students who put out the Daily. Author and historian Jim Tobin is taking me back in time to his slice of Michigan Daily history.
I can remember that taking place right here.
Bound copies of the Daily hold vivid memories of co-editing the paper in the turbulent 1970s.
Here's me with 1970s hair, kind of shame, and Anne Marie Lipinski, a future Pulitzer winner. The Sunday magazine ran every week. And you know, this shows some of the ambition that we had. Here's a story by a Daily reporter from South Africa. And it wasn't unusual for people to take on really ambitious topics like that. Oh, here's the great AFSCME strike of 1977.
And so you were covering this as student journalists.
Because of covering a story like this, a strike at the university, the students who covered that kind of thing learned a great deal more about the way the university worked than most students ever found out about. Most students, you know, they go to class and they go to social events. They don't really understand much about the university itself. But we did. We learned a lot about that, and that was good for us.
Sticking its nose into the university's business has always been part of the Daily's mission. Because it's chartered as a student-run organization, it can.
The Daily has always been a little bit of a rebel on campus, and it can get away with that because of its editorial independence. The university administration can't tell the Daily editors what to do and what to print and what not to. That's very different than most student newspapers at most universities around the country. So the Daily functions as the kind of authentic, independent voice that a newspaper should have.
Who are some of the people who have gone on to have journalistic careers coming from the Daily?
Arthur Miller, the playwright, worked here. Anne Marie Lipinski went on to win the Pulitzer Prize. Gene Robinson, Washington Post columnists, worked at the Daily. People who learned their trade here have gone on to really have an impact in the society at large.
It's too long a list for this story, and the ranks of Daily alumni making their mark on journalism will continue to grow as new generations of students get bitten by the reporting bug.
My name is Bethany Byron. I'm coming from the Michigan Daily.
Bethany Byron is a freshman at the University of Michigan and a new contributor to the Michigan Daily.
I write for the government beat, so I cover a lot of local issues going around in Ann Arbor and even the whole state of Michigan. So I've talked with a lot of Michigan legislators and state representatives.
Are you surprised that you've had the opportunity to talk to some of the leaders in the state?
Yeah, it's really cool, coming from high school where you do just kind of trivial stories about the prom or stuff like that, you know, it's really cool to do something that's a big issue.
Tell me what you're working on.
My story is about the economy of the Big Ten towns, and specifically Ann Arbor, because over the past few years it's gone from the first position among the Big Ten towns, and it decreased to the fourth. So I'm seeing how it's affected local businesses and places around Ann Arbor.
Is there a lot of mentoring that goes on?
Yeah, I'd say all the editors helped me a lot. All of them have helped me grow as a writer.
And it's not just writers, photographers, and editors that make the Daily run. There's an entire business side to the operation.
Zach, how's it going? Good.
Currently overseen by University of Michigan senior Dan Newman. You're really having sort of two experiences at the University of Michigan. You're having your in-class experience, your academic experience, and then you're having your experience here at the Michigan Daily. How do those two fit together?
I kind of think of the Daily as another major. I'm a business major along with political science, but with the business side, I actually get to put in practice things I learn in class. Accounting, budgeting, but most importantly, dealing with people. I think I've learned the most here.
The Daily newspaper is not the only journalistic opportunity on campus. The Michigan Daily's weekly magazine, The Statement, offers students like Allie White a chance to write in-depth, long-form magazine articles.
I think that it's great that the university has the Daily because we don't have a journalism school, and this, I feel like I learn better in hands-on settings, and even if they did have a J school, I don't know if it would be as effective of a teacher as the Daily is in teaching me what I need to be doing, because there are slip-ups and pitfalls that you have to learn how to deal with, as opposed to taking a journalism class that might be a little too soft.
And if you're really ambitious and put in the hours, you just might get elected by your peers at the Daily to one of the paper's top posts.
Okay, we'll fix that and we'll send it right back to you.
Jacob Smalovitz is the Daily's current editor-in-chief.
I'd heard a lot about it. I did some newspaper in high school, and it's kind of crazy at night. People are out at the bars, people are at their houses, but by about 2 o'clock, most people are asleep. But yet, in this one random building in the middle of campus, you have about 10 or 15 people left putting together a newspaper every night, and that's a pretty special thing. You feel like you're part of this storied institution, and every day you're able to leave your mark on it.
And the next mark on history may just be to recycle the very concept of newspapers. The newspaper industry is changing. Do you feel like you have the opportunity to experiment a little more?
Yeah, so I think one of the really important aspects of working on a college newspaper is taking chances and taking gambles. We're always trying different web development options and different types of interactions between the print edition and the online edition.
Despite the day-to-day grind, Jacob appreciates his place in the long and continuing legacy of the Michigan Daily. So are there times when you're putting the paper to bed at night that you get a sense or you're reminded of the 120-year history of the paper?
Yeah, and there's also the days when a paper is very important and it's really going to be a paper that people keep around. Examples of that would be when we first reported that President Obama would be the commencement speaker this year, and also Election Day in 2008. The whole campus fled to the Diag to come together in celebration, and our paper made sure to reflect that. And it's important to realize that we have this opportunity to report on this campus history as it happens.
And for the students who bleed ink to leave an indelible mark on this campus icon, the Daily delivers a lifetime of memories in return.
It was our professional training, it was our social life, and if it was going to be good, that was totally up to us. And that responsibility, I think, is always what has made the Daily such a meaningful experience for so many students who have worked here.
This is my favorite page ever. It's beautiful.